What's up, guys? Really excited to have you here. I am in my kitchen here. I've been debating whether or not to sort of do this video, and I've decided to give it a go. This video comes from the fact that last night at XP Lamp, some of you guys asked what would be some of my favorite games, like maybe a top 10 list. Now, all day at work, that was like sort of on my mind. What would that look like? Like, ooh, woo! Top 10, that would be exciting. What would be on that list? I'm not totally certain. What type of game list? Are we talking top 10 all around best board games that I absolutely love? Or are we talking top 10 for our classroom? Are we talking about play with kids? Are we talking about cooperative games? Are we talking about card games? I don't know, there's just so many. So I couldn't quite decide what was the important first list that would be beneficial to you and to this channel, because gosh, it's all playful and it's all powerful and it's all this channel. It's everything I sort of espouse in this channel about finding joy in the journey. And I think playing games with friends, family, like your students, it's so powerful. I play games with my daughter all the time. She's 8 and she loves it. And we're not just playing like the normal kiddie games. We've been like introducing her to some big games, and that's great. And I'm like thinking, oh, I should share that with you guys. But then I was like, oh, we got a bunch of teachers, so I gotta go classroom route, like the best games to play with your students. Then I was thinking like games you could take like on a field trip, or games you could play at recess. There's so many, and I can't make this channel games channel, because that's not what it is. There's other channels you can go to for that if you're looking for that. But I can start to sort of scratch that surface with you guys. We'll see how this video goes. If you end up liking this video, like maybe I'll do some of those other lists. But for right now, I'm just gonna show you 10 that I really, really like, that I think you'll find valuable for your classroom. Boom! We are down here in my basement. This is my game wall at my house. These are my like favorites, the curated sort of best list. I've let some bad ones go. I've kept all the little gems, the ones I absolutely love. I got like, I'm a collector, not the kind of collector that sort of keeps those things like in the shrink wraps that you want to sell later. I'm talking about the kind of collector, like a wine collector. I want to have that right bottle, that right game for when you come over, when you want to play that. And when I talk to you and I hear what you like, what you want to do, I can be like, boom, I got the game for that experience. Now, to the point of this list, what are some games that would work for your classroom, for your family, and just that all around, I highly, highly recommend. Let's dive in. First, one that you've probably heard of is Codenames. And this is my Codenames box. I'm gonna really like show you how nerdy I am. I actually 3D printed this Codenames box. It's sort of a smaller, like Codenames usually comes in a bigger box, and I couldn't handle that bigger box. So I got this little box. Everything sort of fits in here. It's beautiful. Look, I love this. There's even a spot for the timer on there. I just think it's awesome. It's fun. But Codenames, if you've never heard of it, this would work in your classroom. This is also one of those suggestions that I'm gonna do throughout this sort of top 10 list here. And I gotta tell you, in no friggin' particular order. I am not prepared to organize this list in terms of top 10 to 1. If you push me on it, maybe in the comments, I'll give some thought and I'll order this. But right now, I'm just telling you 10 that I really like a lot. Codenames is one of them, and it's one of those that you can actually change for your classroom. Use your content words. Not all of the suggestions I'm gonna have is that kind of game that you really could like sub out this concept, this feel. But this is a fun one. 2 teams, you could really have big teams if you wanted. One team or one person's trying to communicate to their team these words. There's a grid of 25 words, and there's a card that me as the spy master sees. If you're on my team, if you're the red team and you're on my side, I'm trying to communicate which words down there are mine. And I have a little grid that shows me which words are mine. And there's words that are the blue teams. And if you by accident pick those blue words, boom, like it's helping that blue team, and I need to get our red team. It's a fabulous game. You can pick it up lots of different places. But for this video and to possibly support this channel, if any of this sounds like something you want, if you could click the links below, those are like my affiliate links. That sort of, I get like a little kickback from Amazon if you end up buying from those links. So that would be nice to sort of help out the channel if you end up liking these things anyways. Next game I gotta tell you is a new one that came out here in 2018, end of 2018. It just squeezed in there, but I picked it up and I absolutely love it. It is called Trap Words. Trap Words. We have all sort of played Trap Words, but they've sort of made this improvement on an old game mechanic. So for those of you that have played Taboo, Taboo is that old game where like at the top, there's the word I'm trying to get my team to say, but then there's like 4 or 5 words down below that I can't say, and that's like, that are really nicely associated with that word, right? So if I'm trying to get you to say like Chicago Cubs, like the words down below would be like baseball, you know, that kind of thing, right? So I can't use those words. Now, Trap Words takes that same mechanism. I'm trying to get my team to say a word. I draw a card, it tells me what the word is, then I actually share that card with the other team. So they know what word I'm trying to get my team to say, and then the other team writes down the words I can't say, right? So you're with me. So far you're like, yep, that's like Taboo, except we're building it ourselves. How is that any better? Here it is. It's better because these are the trap words. I don't know the words they wrote down. And this is an awesome like meta game goes on here where did they write down the super obvious? If I'm trying to say Chicago Cubs, did they write down baseball? Or are they gonna assume I'm not gonna say baseball anyways because if they put it down I would lose? So then did they get more words? Like they have 4 words they can write down I can't say at all. And if I say them, bzz, we lose, no points on this round. So it's this really sort of interesting game. If they can think how I'm gonna try to get you to get to that word, it's awesome. And this is again one of those that we can substitute in our curriculum. And this would be a fabulous breakdown of curriculum. One set of your students are gonna like try to come up with what's the best associations for that word, where the other one is trying to think how to explain that word without the best associations, while that group is thinking of what I'm trying to explain. It's pretty awesome and something you could do in your class. We ready for the next one? I got one for you. Crossing. Crossing is a great, great game. I picked it up first from my house. This one I can't say that there's much curriculum overlap or way to weave it in, but it is a great, great game. It's quick, so you can play it before school. I, as a middle school teacher, have that sort of awkward morning time where some kids get dropped off early, they're there. Other kids like come just before the bell rings. You know who I'm talking about. I know some of you students watch this channel. It happens. Well, this is a great game to pick up for that, and it's also good for your house, for you teachers. Nice to use it both places. Crossing is up to 6 players. It plays in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You lay out these like little pads. They're these mushrooms technically, but you're gonna lay out these pads that you're gonna put some gems on. And then we all kind of put our hand like up like this, and when one of us says like 3, 2, 1, go, and you kind of point at one of the pads. If anyone else is pointing at that same pad, you get none of the gems on it. If you're the only one pointing at it, you get the gems on it. And then those go to your like personal stash that's on this player board. Now, all future rounds, people can point to either the gems out there or your personal board. And so there's this giant like meta game, like if I sort of protect my board, if I point at it, then anybody else pointing at it won't get it because it's a tie. Or do I play that game where people are gonna think that I'm gonna protect my board because I have so many gems, so they're not gonna go for it because they'll assume I'm protecting it, so they'll go for the other gems. Do I go for the other gems? Do you go for like the small person who has less of the gems, the people that have like less total, smaller total, because they're not gonna defend it and you'll be able to nab those? Lots of different things, lots of laughs, lots of like, why did you go there? That spot isn't good for you. Those kind of moments just make it so much fun. Lots of laughs, it's quick to play. You need to check it out. Next game, you ready for it? The next one is called Werewords. Werewords, this can be used in your class. This could be curriculum. Werewords kind of blends that werewolf game, if you've ever played that, where there's like certain bad guys. We're trying to figure out who's the bad guys, who's the good guys, this kind of thing, mixed with 20 questions. Here's what I'm talking about. And bear with me, some of these explanations are going probably too fast for you to get, but I really wanted to give you a flavor of these 10 awesome games that you should have in your house as well as your classroom. So here's a little bit of the flavor. This one can be played anywhere from 4 to 20 people. Did you hear me? 20 people. For some of you, that would be your entire class. How awesome is that? Here's how it works. some of us get these rolls, and I'm gonna teach you the base game. This werewolf, I bought the Werewords kind of deluxe, and it gives you even more rolls, but I'm gonna teach you sort of the base. The base would be a bunch of us are villagers. They don't have any special power. One of us is the seer. The seer is gonna be able to see the word that got chosen this round. And then there's werewolves, and the werewolves are gonna get to see the word that was chosen this round, or werewolf, depends how many players are playing. And then there's gonna be like somebody that's sort of this like general moderator for the round. But they actually can have a role as well. You'll see. Or you probably won't unless you pick it up. But whatever, if I'm the moderator, let's say, I got to pick the word. I picked, and there's an app for it. So the app comes up with all these words. But again, you could do this with your curriculum. These could be your curriculum words. In fact, the app lets you add words to your own private list. And so you could make a list of all your content. Sort of the general guy picks one of the words, right? Boom, I got my word. I picked, you know, Napoleon. The rest of the kids now get to ask me, no particular order, we don't take turns, just kind of 20 questions-ish. The app tells you have 4 minutes to try to figure out what this word is. I skipped. I do this all the time. I'm so excited to teach you. I skipped a big piece here. After I chose a word, I sort of closed my eyes, so I don't know who the seer is. The app tells the seer to open their eyes, check out what the word is. They close their eyes. The werewolf then gets to open their eyes. The app tells them to do that. Checks out the word. So now these 3 people know. Me, one werewolf out there, one of the seers. Now they're asking me yes or no questions. It's 20 questions, right? And then there's these chips that you put in front of people, like a green, like yes, or a red, no. And they're asking me questions. They don't know what it is. It could be Napoleon, right? It could be like a person. It could be a thing, right? So they're trying to like narrow it down like any game of 20 questions, right? You get that. I am so sorry that I explained that, how 20 questions works to you. You know how it works. But here's how the game sort of works on top of that. Now you have a bunch of people that have like a bunch of yes chips and no chips. Some have a mix by them. Now, let's say my team, the humans, the good guys, figured out the word before the 4 minutes are up. Now, we didn't win yet. If the werewolf, whoever it is, now shows themselves, boom, you know, like this guy over here, it was the werewolf. That guy, if he can successfully pick who the seer was, who was the person that saw what the word was, but I don't know who the seer is, if they can pick it, then they win. The werewolves win. So that seer can't just have a bunch of green chips in front of them. Like if they just super narrow it down, like, is it a French leader? Yes. Is he short? Yes. Is he good in battle? Yes. Is he gentle? Good. Yes. Right? Like, boom. They got all these yes. It's going to be super obvious that he or she is trying to like point the whole team, the good side, into who this is. So they have to be a little more covert. Flip side, let's say our team didn't figure out I was going for Napoleon in the 4 minutes. We didn't lose yet. If we can correctly identify who the werewolf was, we can still win. So that werewolf can't just keep throwing us off. Hopefully they can come up with misleading questions that are like, you know, like synonyms for things. So it might get the group off of Napoleon and France and maybe more onto Napoleon and the dessert, so to speak. Anyways, it is a great game and one I think you should pick up for your classroom or your family. Again, you can use this for your content. There are other roles in here that make it even more wily, more fun. Anybody I've showed this to, I have played it with my daughter who is 8 and all the way up to like grandmas and grandpas. I'm not gonna list their age. I'm not gonna do that to you, grandma and grandpa, but it's fun for everyone, so check it out. On to number 5. Again, in no particular order, but just this is the 5th one I'm talking about, all right? So don't hold me to this being the 5th slot. It's just here I'm talking about 5th. This one is 5-minute dungeon. It doesn't exactly play in 5 minutes, but pretty darn close. It is cooperative. If you stopped board gaming back with like just Monopoly and Sorry back in the day, one, I am sorry for you because there are so many great games. In 2016 alone, 6,000 games were released. Now probably most of them not awesome at all. However, when you release 6,000, it's kind of like the digital photography phenomenon where like you take enough pictures, some of them are going to be good even if you're not a good photographer. So what is 5-minute dungeon? I'm really trying to go fast for you. I apologize. 5-minute dungeon, it's cooperative. I'm just going to bust this thing open. I'm going to bust it open. Boom. We all get a different character sheet, right? So like here's the barbarian, the ninja. We can even flip it over here, the thief, right? The paladin. There's so many different things. The wizard, right? The ranger, the huntress, right? All sorts of things. But it's a super simple game. All this mess here, all it is comes down to I can have this special power or I could have this special power. It says defeat an obstacle. That's it. It says discard 3 cards, defeat an obstacle. They all work the same way. Discard 3 cards to do something. The game also comes with a deck of cards per player, right? So if I'm playing the purple guy, I get the purple deck. If I get playing yellow, I get the yellow deck. It's pretty easy so far, right? And then it gives you a stack of 5 different bosses. What this is pretending to be, it is pretending to be a crawl through the dungeons. We're starting at the top, going through room to room, defeating little monsters, defeating little mini bosses, till we get to the final boss. These are the final bosses, and it comes with 5 different levels. So we start on level 1, and we're trying to beat the baby barbarian. And when we do that, we go on to level 2. Where's my level 2 here? Of course, it's not in order because I dumped out the box. Level 2 here is the Grim Reaper. Check that out. Like, you don't want to face him. How you defeat these? Super simple. You see all these graphics here, these ones right here. Our decks of cards have those graphics on them. You have a hand of 3 cards. It is simultaneous play. We have 5 minutes. We hit go on this timer. This one also has like an app you can use, but you can use any 5-minute timer if you don't want them to use your phone. But if it's your family, use your phone. It's super fun. They have like these different accents like Scottish and epic and spooky, whatever. You click that, you hit play. It's free, by the way, to get the app. And you go. Then there are all these room cards. And the different bosses tell you how difficult your level is. So if we go on the baby boss here, baby barbarian, he's got a little symbol down here that says 20 cards. We're gonna put 20 of these doors above him. So we gotta go through 20 rooms before we get to him. And the rooms, super simple, just look like something like this. It's kind of fun. This is all like flavor text up here. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is we have these 3 shields. You need 3 shields to defeat this guy, or it says here, this is a monster. So if your character said discard 3 cards to defeat a monster, you could just discard any 3 cards to defeat that monster. But it is so awesome. My students have loved this. I brought this to school. Almost all of them said they've instantly gone home and asked their parents, can we get a 5-minute dungeon? Let's just stop there and say that kids went home and asked for a board game. Not a video game, not an Apple iWatch, not a phone. They asked for a board game to which they could play with you, the parents. Let's think about that. That's pretty awesome. We're gonna move on to our next set of 5. We just did the bottom 5, but again, wait a minute, it's not in order. All right, here we go. All right, I don't know if you're out there, but Carrie Bacham, this game is one that I know you have integrated into your class, into your theme, which, by the way, you could do for any of these. Some of these would really work for your gamified classes if you do that. Like that 5-minute dungeon, I could weave that into Realm of Nobles. That could be like a little challenge. See if you guys can work together to defeat this boss. If you do, you earn this little thing. It would be fun. It would be different. It would be, try it out. Spaceteam. Spaceteam is a phenomenal game. Spaceteam is, again, cooperative. So we're working together to beat that dungeon. We all play our cards at the same time. It's just simultaneous play. You have a shield, This one, things are breaking on our ship. Like a problem card comes out like, oh, like our radar's down. We need like a confunculator to fix it. And all of us have a hand of cards and it's like, oh, I have the confunculator, but like, the other person had to tell me that the problem they had, like the cards are somewhat private, like what they need. So like in your hand, you have some problems and some solutions. So when I'm shouting out, I need X, Y, or Z, you might have the X, Y, or Z. But in our hands, we also have the systems that are breaking. So I also have to say, hey guys, I also need this, or I need a flux capacitor. And somebody's like, oh, I got a flux capacitor. And together, that communication can like work together to keep the ship alive, to keep it going. But in there's these little zany twists and turns that make it more difficult. You have to get through enough of the deck to sort of build your ship and keep it whole and make it good. Great game. And again, super, super duper fast. So play that one in the morning. Again, it's like we're talking 5 minutes. My 5-minute dungeon, while it's not 5 minutes, because one of the powers are that you can pause time, it's still no longer than like 10. Play it in the morning before kids get there. Invite some kids up for recess. If you live in Wisconsin, it's cold. It could be a really fun thing to have people in maybe for recess for just a little bit. Play a game like this, bond with them. it's super awesome. Spaceteam is another kind of must-add. It's super quick, super fun, super like thematic if you want to weave it in your game. I can't say enough about it. Next one, I am very excited about this because this next one is one I actually want to play with all of you. So heads up, pay attention to that because there's going to be some posts coming out on Twitter on that. This is a game you can play with unlimited number of players, and we're going to put that to the test on the internet. So hopefully you'll all join in. That one, let me kind of grab over here. I don't know why I do my own sound effects when I clearly in post editing could put better sounds in, but it's just who I am. I like to do those kind of things. My students would totally tell you that I like to make kind of crazy sounds and whatnot. This one is Railroad Ink. They come in two different colors, red and blue. There actually is a bit of a difference between the two games. The game comes with 2 expansions in it, and that's the difference between the red and the blue. The base game's the same in both, but kind of which expansion you get is up to you. The blue is a little more realistic, so this one's Rivers and Lakes is the expansion, and the expansion in the red is Meteors and Lava. If you think I picked this because I'm a history teacher, so that like, oh, he picked the realistic one, you're close to being right, but you're wrong because I actually bought both, all right? As I told you, super nerd couldn't decide, had to get both. Let me explain to you the game. This is a style of game. This is one we haven't talked about. This style of game is called Roll and Write. Roll and Write is not the author of the game. Roll and Write is the style of game. This is where you kind of like Yahtzee. It's an upgraded Yahtzee where you roll and you write something. So let's bust open this game. It's like a magnetic box. That's pretty sweet, right? It comes with a boatload of these sort of dry erase sheets. But here, when we do this as a challenge, I have a template that I'm gonna give all of you and we can play kind of around the globe all together. I can't wait. Again, watch out for that post. It's coming quick. It's coming soon. It's gonna be there. Here's your grid that you're gonna end up building. You got 4 dice, 4 white dice like this. I'm gonna roll those, and like there are different like streets and train types, just different transportation type things that come up on those graphics. You then have to place those in here and build a grid. And there are these red exits. You're trying to connect these red exits with the proper things, build a network. There's no like intersections. There's these special ones. It's a thing. It's gonna need greater explanation than what I'm doing right here, but it's this fun where we all play off those dice. So when I roll, it's not like my turn and I roll it and I do this. I roll that, and whether we're playing with me and just my daughter, or if we're playing with me and all 10,000 of you, we are playing off those dice. And we're building this, and it's going to be played over a series of 7 rounds. And in the 7 rounds, there's different ways to sort of score, and you're trying to build your track based on the rolls we're getting. And then there's a few bonus ones you could sort of place down. It's so much fun to see how different scores happen based off the same set of dice. And if you buy the set, this is dry erase, so you can just kind of erase it and do it again. And it's just a good time, and I can't wait to play it with you guys. Again, I'll give you a better explanation. You still with me? I am sure there's probably a grand total of like 3 of you watching. For those of you that are still with me, awesome. Give me a thumbs up. I'd love to know how many of you are still like out there. All right, we have 3 more to go in no particular order. Fuse is the next one. Fuse is a fun game. It says right there, 10 minutes. It's totally 10 minutes. It's cooperative, it's collaborative. Almost breakout EDU-ish, almost don't take that analogy too far. There are these like cards that come out. And these cards are different like combos of dice we need to put. And together we're pulling some dice out of the bag, so we don't know what colors we're getting or whatever. We're pulling like so many out. You're pulling out 1 per player. And you roll those dice. And then together, shared, collaboratively, we shout out what we need. I have like 2, 3 cards in front of me, and it's like, oh, I need like a green 3. Can I take the green die? But somebody else might need it, you know, more than me or whatever. We have to decide this super quick, because in 10 minutes, if we do not get the code, here is the breakout connection. If we don't diffuse all of these things in 10 minutes, boom, our ship's gonna blow up, and we need to not have that happen. That would be bad. So we got to work together. We got to communicate. And there's this constant pressure of the time. Again, there's an app that's going to be constantly ticking down. And it's super fun to have that pressure of the time. Tick, 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 tick. You guys are shouting. You're rolling. It's got even a fun zany rule. If like you pull out the wrong number of dice from the bag, you can't just chuck back one. What kind of fun would that be? You actually have to chuck them all back. You have to get an exact pull of dice. It's super frustrating in the moment, but it's also that kind of nice touch. It's that super thing, that super fun thing. These are those moments where either with your family, friends, or students that you can build those kind of fun moments where like, oh, remember when we were down to that final few seconds and every time you kept drawing out 5 dice, but we only could draw out 4? It killed us, but man, was it funny. And man, do I want to reload it up again and play it. Fuse is a great one. Again, if you want any of these, click the links down below, get one. If you happen to live in an area that's got a friendly local game store, support those guys. They need it more than I need it. So like, but if you're at some place that you just can't, click one down below. All right, we got our final 2 left. Super sorry for it taking so long. Pictomania. For all of you sketchnoters, for those of you that got like super jazzed into sketchnoting, for all of you that loved Pictionary as a kid, this is like Pictionary for the gamer. There's a little more game mechanic to it. Don't get freaked out. Don't think you're a super nerd. Don't think you're all of a sudden going to be hunched over in a basement like I am talking about games right now. Whew, did that hurt? I guess I just made fun of myself. All right, Pictomania, let's get to it. Pictomania is, again, Pictionary style. There are these tableaus of words. I'm drawing one of those words. Here's the difference though. You're drawing one of them, they're drawing one of them there. So if we're playing 6-player, boom, we're all drawing words at the same time. So one, we're all engaged. Here's the catch. We also have these tokens that we're trying to figure out which word you're drawing. And I can place my token by you. So I'm gonna bet that I know what word he's drawing. I'm gonna bet I know which one you're drawing. But when I'm betting, I'm no longer drawing. And it's this balance. If no one can guess what I draw, if I spend like no time on my drawing, if I just draw a line and then go to the game of betting, I'm going to get no points. People have to get mine for me to get points off my bets. But at the same time, the bets, you get a decreasing payout the later you bet. So if I'm the first to bet that I know that you're drawing like a snowman, I'm going to get more points than if I'm like the 5th person saying, I think you're drawing a snowman. So it's this balance. How much do I work on my drawing before I jump to their drawings? And as a kicker, as an extra, once you go to the betting, you're no longer adding to your drawings. So like once I like bet out there and I look back down and I'm like, oh, there's no way they're going to guess this. I can't add to it. And now it's like, oh man, that tension between get into the betting, get in from the drawing as it's all happening. We're all doing it at the same time. You're trying to look at what others are doing while you're drawing, while you're not betting, so that when you get to the betting rounds, you can do that fast. Did you end up drawing good enough? I don't know. Lots of laughs. Plays up to 6 players. Plays quickly as well. So great recess game, another good before morning game or before school starts game. After school game club. Any of these would work. Oh man, that would be another good top 10. We ready for the last game in my 10, awesome games for your classroom or your family. This is another one that would work for curriculum if you wanted. So I'll admit I sort of saved this one. It's one that got released in 2018. Many of you might not know about it. It's similar to Codenames, but I like it better. For those of you that know Codenames, you just leaned into this video. You're like this. Leaned in. Because you know Codenames is a great game, so you're wondering what this next game is. I'm here to tell you, that next game, that better than Codenames game is Decrypto. Decrypto is phenomenal. Listen to this. This is like a code-breaking game, sort of. Each team gets 4 words. These could be your curriculum. So I'm going to show you kind of the back of the box here. Wait a minute, why am I doing this? I could insert a picture. I'm going to stick with the back of the box. It's got a nice feel. So I'm not going to do any like that kind of crazy editing. Our team's got these 4 words slid in here. Those are going to be our words the entire game. Round 1. I get one of these cards here that tell me I'm trying to get my team to guess. Oh, my team's looking at these words too. So our whole team's on this side of the table looking at these 4 words. They just don't see my numbers that I have. Below these words are the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 really big. I need to get my team to say that the code is 3, 4, 2. And I'm going to give them clues for these words in the order I want them to guess them. Right? So super easy. The words here are black. Above 1 is black. 2 is dragonfly. 3 is cocktail. 4 is sombrero. All right. So let's go through this. I need you to say 3 first. So cocktail. Maybe I say James Bond. Now James Bond doesn't instantly think cocktail, but you, my team that gets to see only these words, are going to think, oh, it's totally 3 for James Bond, right? The other team doesn't know our words. Then I need to get you to say sombrero. Maybe I'll say like Cozumel. So you're thinking Mexico. It's like, again, with the words I have, for sure it's number 4. Then I got to get you to say dragonfly. So maybe I say bumblebee. And you're like, oh yeah. So then my team guesses like that the combo is 3, 4, 2 because you're good, right? Now, the problem is we share this out loud. They know our clues and they know that I'm going to tell you are correct. So then they're able to, on their sheet, write that number 2, the clue given was bumblebee, and they got it right. The number 3, cocktail, well, they don't know the words cocktail, but they know I gave the clue James Bond. And for 4, I gave the clue Cozumel. Now what happens is these words do not change. And one of you, we like switch spots, one of you now gets to be the guy that draws the card. New combination, and these words aren't the same, so now you got to give like another clue about cocktail. And if the other team, starting in round 2 moving forward, if the other team can also guess the code, if they can guess, well, we said James Bond last time, and this time, I don't know, somebody says, it's been a long day. I can't even think of another one. Let's go with the Cozumel. If somebody says like Mexico City, the other team's gonna totally know that that's number 4. So if they're able to guess our code, they get a point, they get 1 point. You're only trying to play till 2 points. If your team doesn't get your code, so if you're trying to be so protective that the other side could never get your code, but you're so far out there that your team doesn't get your code, you get this bad token, and if you get 2 bad tokens, instant loss. The goal is to get 2 white tokens. It's this interesting balance, like where code names, you're always trying to give them the best clue you can. This is weird. You're almost trying to give them more abstract clues. All right, that's our top 10. I gotta say thank you so much for watching this. I know it was lengthy and it was different. It was different for this channel. But somebody brought it up at XP Lab and I wanted to try to like answer them. This again was in no particular order, and it's not necessarily my favorite games. As you can see, I have a lot of them. I have way more at school too, and there are good ones there too. But if you think about these games and kind of adding them to your classroom, your family life, your friends, it is a great hobby. I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think down below? Do you like these games? Are you excited to pick them up? Tell me, I want to hear from you. This channel is a two-way street. It's a community, and what makes it a community is you guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you happen to be hearing this last bit, it means you stuck through all the way to the end. Huge thumbs up for you. And again, if you could support the channel or your local board game store, do so down below. Click on the links to pick up any of these games or your local game store. That's all I got for you tonight. I hope you have a great day. Take care, guys.